Hey, life steady coming at me, but it's nothing. I guess I really got a case of the focus. Trying to hold me back, but I'm forever running. I guess I really got a case of the focus. Self-doubt, low self-esteem, I ain't with it. No fear, untamed.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. So you make my very first guest. So this is my premiere episode of The Case of the Buckets. So I
Nice,
appreciate
that's
you.
awesome.
Yes. Yes. So, all right. So before we get started, why don't you tell everybody who you are?
So my name is Rachel Good, and I own the Sparkly Chicken, and we make like candles, wax melts, room sprays, all the smelly good things.
Well, I went on your website and I am really feeling those the cereals, the cereal
Oh
candles.
yeah,
Those look like they smell very good, especially the Captain. I think it was Captain Crunch, and I want to say I think is it the '70s cereal or '80s cereal that's the Cocoa Puffs.
70s, yeah.
Okay, yes, it is. It looks like it smells really really good. So that's
Yes.
good. That's good. That's good. Now, are you from Columbus, from Ohio?
I'm from Ohio, so I live in Jackson Center.
Where's that?
So I'm in the Midwest. So up and down wise, we're almost directly in the middle. But we are over towards Indiana. Like I'm only probably 45 minutes away from Indiana.
Okay. Okay. So, how did you get started?
Yeah. Well, in 2024, I decided that I was going to start making soap, like bar soap, to see if we could get something better than what you get at the store that doesn't have a bunch of chemicals and make it just the same way my great grandma used to make it, with lye. So I started doing that, and then my brother is a woodworker, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think about taking your soap to? We have at the county seat, there's a farmer's market every Saturday morning." And he's like, "What if you and I set up a booth together? I'll have my woodworking stuff, and then you can bring your soap, and we'll just do that all summer at the farmer's market." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So then, like, I needed a business name, and we had to do all of the business things. And I was like, "Well, I can't just take soap. Like, that's weird. Who just has soap?" Even though there are plenty of people now I know that just have soap.
Right.
But that's kind of where it bloomed from there. I was like, well, I could make wax melts. We could try that out and see how that goes. And then that went into candles and car air fresheners and room sprays, and now we have foaming hand soap. So it just kind of snowballed.
That's good. Well, your website looks great. I took a look at it. It looks really good. It look like you have some great stuff on there. I want to order some candles because I'm a candle girl. So I'm going to get me some of those.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes. So, because this is centered about Painted Tree, how did you get involved with? Well, let me say this first. Did you start out with just one location, or did you have more than one? I was going back and forth. I was like, I wasn't really clear.
We only had just the one in Lewis Center. My plan was to see how that went. And then if it went well, then we are about the same distance away from Fort Wayne and Cincinnati that we were to Lewis Center.
Mm-hmm.
So those would be the next natural places to go. So by the fall, if it was going well, then I wanted to have booths open in Fort Wayne and Cincinnati for the Christmas season.
Okay.
but we know that didn't happen.
Now, did you start when they first opened?
Yes. So I signed the contract in July last year, I believe.
Okay.
I heard about it from another vendor at a random craft show, and she was like, "Hey, there's this place. It's really cool." And I was like, "I've never heard of this." And I did some looking into it, and I was like, "Oh, this is a really great concept. So let's jump while the iron's hot, you know?"
Mm-hmm.
And we went ahead and signed the contract. It was supposed to open in August, I think, and then it kept getting pushed back, and we didn't open until the last week of November.
See, I didn't know that. I did not know that they were supposed to open last summer because I was driving. I was at the time, I was driving with medical transportation. And I was talking to my friend. I was like, hey, there's this place. So it was, I think, few weeks before they were set to open. And so I went in there and I told her, I was like, we have to do this. I was like, this is amazing. This is great. I said, there's people from all over. And again, like you said, the concept was great. But we literally moved in that Monday. They opened on, was that Friday or Saturday they opened?
Yeah, I think so.
It was whatever that November 22nd, opening day. My husband thought I was crazy. And yes, yes. And we literally, she's like, are you think we're going to be ready? We have pictures of our daughters sitting on the floors, putting tags on things. Like we were like, okay, we're going to be ready. So, okay. Okay. So you were from the beginning, just like we were.
Yep.
Okay. So what out of this experience, what was the best part for you?
I thought the whole concept was super great. Like there's a lot of little, like this person owns this store that are around here that you can go in and do the same kind of thing. But this on that scale was amazing. And I personally did not have problems getting paid. I only had a problem with prorated rent the first month, and I got that fixed, and they paid me what they owed me. So getting the direct deposit, and I thought that was super slick. And meeting the other vendors and being able to talk to other people in the stores and finding out, where they're from and how they got started. Like I really do like that, connecting with other people that are trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do.
Right. Okay. So you said you didn't have, because I didn't even know that it was an issue with people getting paid until probably the month before they were getting ready to close. And I joined some of the groups. Mm-hmm. And that's where I started seeing where people were posting that they had not gotten paid. It had been months. People were complaining about the business practices, the change in leadership. There was the advisory board that was formed, and there was just all these, and they were like, "Wow, we don't have these issues here." Because again, like you, I didn't have any issues. Now, I will say, when it first opened, it was great. Sales were great. December was pretty good. But after that, my sales went down. Did you see a decrease in sales as well?
I did. And I know that they say that, for the months that start with a J, you can expect lower sales. And so I was like, okay, it's January. It's the month after Christmas. People are holding in their spending because of what they just did in December. So I get it. So January wasn't super great for us. February was okay. And then because the first week of February, there was a big snowfall. So like a lot of around here it was just closed because of the amount of snow that we got. But then March also wasn't super great. So, I mean, I made rent and, I did get paid, but it was definitely not what I was expecting compared to December, but
Okay.
maybe I had an unrealistic expectation. I don't know.
No, you weren't the only one. Because I was so excited. My husband was on board. He's like, oh, yeah, this is a good concept. But January, February came around and he said, okay, so are you making any money? And it got to the point where in March, he was like, it's time to shut it down. And I'm like, no, I started to rebrand. I wanted to do some better things, get my booth fixed. I was looking at some other booths. And boy, I said, no, just give me a minute. Well,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. I remember sitting and I said, Lord, you got to show me something. Like, what's going on? Because he was like, I want you to shut this down. It's supposed to be bringing in revenue. It's not. It's costing money. And I asked the Lord to show me something. And I kid you not, 24 hours later, my friend, her booth was across mine. She said, did you get the email? And I was like, what are you talking about? Painted Tree closed. She said, we have to get our stuff out by next Friday. 24 hours later. So, yeah. It was, and so I had in the beginning, I'm like, whoa, it actually helped because I didn't make rent. I didn't make rent for 3 months. And so I was like, well, I guess. Yeah. I said, I guess this makes us even, because I said, we're not going to get our deposits back. So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, at first I said, okay, but then I think it took a couple of days for me to calm down, and then it started to sink in that it was over. And again, like you, I think it is a wonderful concept. I felt that I really felt that the prices were fair, because we looked at how much it would have cost us to actually open up a storefront. And it would have went way more than what we were being charged. I don't know what size booth you had, but I had a 6x10, and that was $300.
Yeah, and that's not bad. Mine was 4x10, and it was $200.
Okay. So you had the. Okay, I'm trying to think. Were those the ones that were like on the corner, or like a little a shelf?
No, it was over, like when you walked in the door and go to the right, the aisle was H, Hickory Lane. And it was the one that had the kiosks in the middle of the aisle.
Okay.
So the aisle was wider.
Yes, I saw those. Okay, we were in G. We were in G. And yes.
Okay.
And so I got so excited because I was going, oh, it was one of them where the same street I live on. I was so excited. I said, oh, this is meant to be. So, but I thought it was cool because I actually was going to move some of my other things into one of the center aisles, because I thought that was cool that they had those kiosks in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, we thought about doing that too, because in the beginning, the little kiosk in front of us, there wasn't anything. I was like, maybe we just kind of make our booth a little bigger and expand into the aisle. But then that got rented out. So I was like, well, okay, we can't do that now. But I'm glad that we didn't, honestly, at this point.
And you know what's funny is that, so I started out, I have a business called Wrapped in Funk, and I sell earrings, like the earrings I have on, head wraps, and my husband's artwork. And so across from me, it was open. I said, oh, so I could do my earrings and head wraps over here and then do the artwork in a separate aisle. Again, I'm so thankful that I did not do that, because again, it would have been a mess. But there was a lady in our aisle who hers were across from each other. And so the day I was in there picking up my things, she was in there and she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so Yeah, a lot of us. And so what are you going to do? And I know you did say that you are kind of scaling back a little bit. So what is next for you with this since it's closed?
Right now, I've thought about going back to a couple, because when we went into there, we took everything out of like the little mom and pop stores that we had stuff in. So we've thought about possibly going back to one or two of those. I have picked up a new wholesale account, so that'll be good. We are going to do some events, like to like craft shows or whatever. We've got a couple booked for June, and I started going live on TikTok again because I hadn't done that for months, because I was like, well, we don't have to do that now, you know? So I'm like, okay, it's time to start doing live sales again
Mm-hmm.
and getting that picked back up. And now I'm like kicking myself because I stopped doing it and I let all my eggs be in one basket, and I should never have done that. So, I mean, I learned a lesson too.
So let me ask
So,
you, that is a very, lessons learned, because I, like you, thought, okay, I don't have to worry about this because I don't particularly like doing online sales. My sales come from me being in people's in the space. I do all of my sales. And
right.
so again, like you, once I started, I said, well, I don't need to do this anymore because people can find me here. But boy, it's like you said, starting that back up. I've done two
Mm-hmm.
events since the close of Painted Tree, and boy, I said that my van is just it's stuff is everywhere. It's everywhere. I even
Yeah.
looked at trying to find another storefront, a space to rent, maybe a studio, and boy, it's crazy the prices that are wanted
Yeah.
for the rent. And I said, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to go back to doing events, which I didn't want to do, but here we
Yeah.
are. So let me ask you, how do you? Because I was trying to figure it out myself and wasn't able to figure it out. How are you able to sell your products on TikTok Live or on TikTok? Period.
So I have, my page is a business page.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it doesn't have to be, but I don't know. If you want your shop connected to um, your page, then it has to be a business page. Otherwise, you're an affiliate. Which, in order to be able to sell, then you have to have at least 1,000 followers, I think.
Okay.
Um, but if you're a business, you don't have to have that many. Um, and I mean, I only have like 13 or 1,400 followers. I don't have a huge following. But then there's like an app and there's a computer like login that you can do stuff in, to add products to it. And, you set the prices and do all that stuff. And then your shop has all of your stuff in it. And you can set it up to where other creators that are bigger can, um, either get free samples from you or refundable samples from you. You can send them offers and say, hey, I actually just did this last night, and one of them actually took me up on it and ordered 4 candles and a wax melt. So I have those
Oh,
sitting here to ship. Yeah.
okay.
And I pick people that have like 30 to 80,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
that way, then they get this stuff for free. And then as the payback for you, basically, so you're not paying for the marketing, they make videos with them, and then they get commission on the products that they sell too.
Okay. So I was trying because my business that I have is called Lux Teas by Kia Renee, and that was what I switched my booth over to at Painted Tree. And so I was trying to figure out how to get my tea on there, but there's a lot of different requirements for, I guess, food items. And so it's not as simple as when I was selling my book or trying to sell t-shirts or something. And so I've been trying to figure out a way to be able to do that. Because again, with not having Painted Tree, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. I know TikTok has very strict guidelines on things. I can't sell soap on there because
Oh,
they say that I have to have something from Food
FDA.
and Drug.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
the FDA because that's what they said for me. FDA.
Yes. And I was like, okay, except for you have to sell like over a certain number of products or over $1 million worth of products to have to register to be able to sell soap. I 100% am not making $1 million, sir. So I do not have to
Right.
do this, but they won't even like they have a little quiz that you can take to see if you need to register with them. So I did that, and then the page came up and said, you do not have to do this. And I submitted that to TikTok, and they said, no, that doesn't count.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can imagine it's probably fun to try to sell anything edible, but I have seen people on there selling like baked goods and stuff.
See, I need to know. I'm going to have to do some research because I'm not even selling made tea. It's dry loose leaf tea. And so I'm trying to figure out, yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research because that is that's annoying. That is very annoying.
Yes.
And again, I'm not making $1 million. So why would I need to fill out anything with the FDA? But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. So let me ask you, what were your best selling items at Painted Tree?
Probably, like you mentioned, the cereal candles. The Fruit Loops were always my number one seller at any event. And then once I added in the others, then I would say Fruit Loop was still number one, and Captain Crunch was a very close second.
Okay.
People love those things.
Listen, they smell good. And what's funny is I've smelled somebody else's, the one with the Fruit Loops, but it was a clear candle. I don't know what that type of wax is called, where you can see through it.
Like a gel wax, probably.
Something like that, but you could see straight through the candle, and all you saw were the Fruit Loops in it. But it smells really good. It smells really
Mm-hmm.
good. That's good. So, what surprised you with running the business at Painted Tree versus doing it at the farmers markets?
It honestly, like, we started to get spoiled because, yeah, we had to go over there every 2-3 weeks to restock stuff, but you don't have an entire carload or truckload of stuff, this gigantic tent that you have to set up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're trying to figure out how you're going to keep candles from melting in 90-degree heat all day long. And like, it was just easy. And we were like, heck yeah, like, this is so simple. We could just keep expanding into more Painted Trees and then quit our jobs. And that's just what we do. We just travel around and restock, and that's it.
Yeah. I know for me, my friend and I, the biggest appeal was the fact that we didn't have to be there. That
Yeah.
was that hands down was one of the best things because being out there, like you said, 90-degree heat, setting up stuff, carloads full of things. And I don't know about you, but I have younger kids, and boy, trying to wrangle them while I'm trying to sell stuff. My goodness. So yes, it made a huge difference in being able to do it. Then you can't get spoiled. Because I know, again, like you said, we were trying to expand. I said, okay, we could do this. I used to live in Cincinnati. I lived down the street from Crestview Hills. That's when I saw that. I said, oh, I know that area. Yeah, I used to live down the
Nice.
street from Crestview Hills. And so I said, oh, this is great. A gentleman who I want to say he had 15 stores. I don't know if you met him in there, but he had stuff everywhere. And he was like, it's great. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. And I thought about those people when everything started to shut down. What happens when you have more than one store and you've got to get all of that stuff out of all those stores in
Wow.
2 weeks? In 2 weeks. So I just, my prayer was that everybody got their stuff out, because I just could not imagine there was, I don't know if you remember the lady with all the bedding in the front.
Yes.
And I thought about it. I remember I went up, my friend was working, and I went and I actually got all her merchandise out for her. And it was on Wednesday of that final week. And now all that stuff was still there. And I'm like, oh my God, I really hope that they get, they're able to get somebody up here, because nobody wants to lose that. Nobody has the type of money to lose all of that merchandise.
Yep. I even, when that email came through, I just happened to be on my lunch break at work. And so I saw it come through on my phone, and I was like, what? And I'm thinking, okay, if I can't get in and get my stuff, like, this might be it for us, because I have thousands of dollars worth of stuff sitting there. So then, yeah, like, I can't imagine for people that had stuff in every store. There was 62 stores, something like that. My neighbor was another candle vendor, and he has a brick and mortar in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area, I think. And this was his third store, and he was in the one in Pittsburgh, and then Virginia Beach, and then this one in Ohio. So he had to, it's only three, but like, that's a lot of running around that you got to do to try to hope that you can get your stuff back.
Right. And then I don't know if you were in any of those Facebook groups, but people were setting panic, because they were saying people were stealing their stuff, that they were being locked out by the landlord. And so they were inducing a lot of panic. And so when I went up there, we were standing outside the store waiting for them to open at 10 o'clock. It was probably 2 days later. And I was like, well, we didn't have any issue. I don't know when you guys got your stuff out, but I didn't have any issue. My friend, she ended up going up that last Thursday and got all of her stuff, the rest of her, all the bookcases and things. The biggest thing was just making sure, because I was like, hey, let me help you get your merchandise out, because I was like, what happened? Like you said, what happens if you can't get your stuff?
Yeah.
So, and I have regrets, but I don't, because as an entrepreneur, it's a crapshoot.
Yep.
We don't know. And because we are putting our business's fate in somebody else's hands. And so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know if there is a place near Lancaster that is it's a similar setup of Painted Tree, but it's more of it's not as the higher end boutique type of thing. It's more of the vendor fair, farmers market mix in there, but it's not it's not the clientele. Like I was doing some research. Painted Tree was more of a boutique. It was more of the higher end specialty things, versus what's going on in Lancaster. It's more of the mom and pop, but it's more of the not a specialty items. It's like your things are like mine. I wouldn't consider your things to be. Your things would be in Painted Tree. Like your packaging looks good, your labels, everything's really good. That's why I was like, I have to tell you this as a sidebar. When you said sparkly chicken, I said, what in the hell is this? I was thinking, I said, okay, I'm thinking stuff for animals. I'm thinking like the little sparkly dog chains and the leashes and cute little animal clothes. That's what I was thinking it was when I saw that. I said, what in the hell is this? So I said, my friend was like, well, girl, go in there and see. So I went, I said, okay, totally different. I would have never thought that you sold candles and room sprays off of the name Sparkly Chicken. Just want to let you know that.
Yes.
And so how did you come up with that name?
we went round and round with different things. And I'm like, it needs to be something that people will remember, something that is just like, okay, that's different. And and our last name is Good. So there's, we played with all different kinds of things with good. And I'm like, but I don't want people to think that like the stuff is just good, like we're better than that. And we have chickens.
Okay.
And my husband is always complaining that there's glitter everywhere in this house because there is. And the sparkly chicken was born, and it could be literally anything. So we could expand into anything and it would make sense.
Absolutely. I was stumped. I'm telling you. I was like, what in the hell? So yes, you hit the nail on the head right there. You can do whatever you want with that name because I'm telling you, I was expecting a chicken with the bling collar around its neck. That's what I was expecting when I went on your website. I said, okay. It's like, this is good. I said, this is real good. But that woo, very good, very good. And I do agree.
Thank you.
Good. Oh, that's not. But this, you did something with that. You did something with that. Let me ask you, what do people not realize about working behind the scenes when, as an entrepreneur, trying to do these farmers markets and working with other small businesses or larger businesses?
It's burnout is real. Like you are, especially if you're trying to make your own things. But even probably also if you're ordering, t-shirts or whatever, and you got to make sure that whatever's on them and make sure everything is right. You get the sizes that you want. And, when I have to make everything and sometimes I forget things and it's a lot. I could be sitting down here working for, until midnight. And then I got to get up and I got to do my 9 to 5 tomorrow because I got bills to pay and this isn't doing it yet. And then you got to go somewhere all weekend and then you're consumed by it. It's 24/7. It doesn't stop. You're responding to emails and trying to come up with content for your social media. It's not for the faint of heart.
I agree. I completely agree. And I don't think people really understand when you're talking about handmade stuff. When I first switched over my booth from Wrapped in Funk to Lux Teas, I had elderberry kits in there, and a lady called me and was like, "Hey, we're looking for people who make their stuff," because she said she went around and saw that a lot of the booths had things that were not made; they were manufactured. And she said, "I need somebody who makes their stuff." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I make this in my kitchen." What is your thoughts on when people expect manufacturer quality or not even manufacturer quality, but expecting that product from somebody that's doing it by hand? Machine versus handmade. There we go.
It can go both ways. So maybe I didn't get the wick centered exactly where it should be in the candle, but a machine would have. Or sometimes you go to a big box store and you get a candle and it's like not even close to the center, and you're like, wow, okay, a machine made this and it's nowhere close. But I'm looking at mine and it's 2 millimeters off, and I'm like, oh dang, it's not in the middle, but it looks way better. But also, I think, and I've always been this way, but especially more now that I'm doing this, I'm looking more for the handmade items because I know that person put a lot of work in that. And, if it was something that they had to test, if it's different things that they're trying to figure out what's going to sell, what's not going to sell. And the big box stores, they don't they don't care. They just want to sell whatever it is that they've got. They don't care if it does what it's supposed to do. You know, you light it, and like if it's a candle, you light it and it doesn't smell. You can't even smell it 5 minutes after it's lit, you know. But if you're hand making it and someone would say, hey, I can't smell this. And you're like, ooh, shoot. Did I mess something up? Maybe I didn't do math right when I was measuring stuff or something. And like, I will definitely, replace that for you. And it's more, what's the personal, like,
Yeah. Because you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into it, literally.
Yes.
Literally. And that I know for me, people forget that sometimes. I feel like people are really harder on small businesses and forget that we are humans and not the machine. And that although you missed the wick or may have missed the wick by 2 centimeters, that your product is, like you said, it's going to be better than the big box store. And then also, and just like you, I'm feeding somebody's children by purchasing something from them. When you're purchasing something small, you never know, because again, you're doing these long weekends, long weekends, long events, and sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't. So other than that, what other lessons has entrepreneurship taught you?
Not to give up, even if it feels like it's insurmountable, to just keep on going and trust the process, and you'll figure it out. I think that's probably the biggest thing. There have been times that I've been like, ugh, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, we're just going to throw in the towel. But I'm so glad that I never did, because I've got to meet so many new people and do different things that we wouldn't have probably done. Like, in June, we're going to Hocking Hills. We made it an extended weekend, but it's for a show. We wouldn't have went down to Hocking Hills in June if it wasn't for that. So it does also get you out and about and doing things that you probably wouldn't have done. So, but definitely to just stay the course and keep it going. If that's your passion, then do it. And I've missed, my friends' kids' birthdays and graduations and stuff like that, because we got to go. Like, we got to go out and hustle. Like, that's just how it is. Like, I'm sorry, I missed this kid's birthday. Hopefully I'll be able to get the next one,
Absolutely. And that's what it definitely is, a hustle. Because, and what I've learned, I was so disappointed. I actually sat down and calculated what it cost me to do this event one time. And it was so defeating. And I was telling my friend, I said, I'm going to have to stick with festivals. I said, I can't do any just, somebody decide to have a vendor event one day or whatever the case may be. Because when I really sat down and looked at the numbers, I said, wow, I did all of this and I made maybe $50. And I've been doing research and watching things online, and some of the stories are just heartbreaking, where you're putting, like you said, your heart and soul into stuff, and you get somewhere and you might have 50 people all day. And you paid $100, sometimes $200. And I've heard higher than that to be a part of something, and you end up not even breaking even. So with that, how are you going to move differently now that Painted Tree has closed? what moves are you going to make now so that you can keep things moving? And that I know you stated that you have a wholesale contract. So what are some other things that you're going to do now, or pivoting as we call it, now that saga is over?
Yes, big pivot. So we actually are also, I didn't think about this in the beginning of this conversation. Duh. We have a camper. We haven't been camping in a couple of years. So we have decided to renovate that and pretty much strip the inside, and we're turning it into a mobile candle shop. So yes, I looked
Oh.
at getting one of those fancy sheds that has like a porch and stuff, and then we could drywall it and whatever. But I mean, by the time you buy the shed, have the ground leveled, have an electrician come and run electricity from the house to it, I mean, we're getting up there into buying a 5-year-old Kia type money.
Okay.
And I was like, that this might be a little more than we were planning on biting off at this point in time. So we decided we'll just make the camper into a candle shop. So we are deep in the trenches of that right now. But we're hoping to have like open hours here at the house, basically, like on the weekends. And then we could take it to shows, and then we would have air conditioning if it's hot out, or heat if it's cold out, if the show allows it. Because some places, as we know, also you can only have a 10 by 10 tent. And that's just not ideal. But we're gonna keep doing shows and trying to drive sales to the website. That's my goal, is to get more e-commerce moving. And we'll see how it goes. If we can get the candle camper going, then maybe that'll be our way to getting enough money saved to open a brick and mortar somewhere. And because like you said, that's not cheap.
It's not even, no, God, just thinking about it. They wanted 700, 1,500. And I said, I can't go home and tell this man that they want this kind of money. He was hollering about 300. So, so I understand, but that sounds like an amazing idea. A mobile candle camper, birthday parties, girls' parties. That will be nice. That's a really great idea. So
Thank
what
you.
are your, what moment during this whole process, what moment has made you feel the proudest?
Oh, that I didn't lose my mind. I guess maybe the jury's still out on that, but I'm just glad that we've made it this far. I mean, when I told my brother that yes, I would sell soap with him at the farmer's market, I never thought that I would be sitting here 2.5 years later and doing all of this and all of the things that I've done. I'm not super introverted, but I'm also not super extroverted. So that it is helping me to step outside of my box and my comfort zone and do things that I probably would never have done before, because you have to approach people.
You do. You can't just sit there. You have to talk to people. Okay. So what's your favorite memory from Painted Tree?
It's a mix of probably move-in day and move-in week. So the week before they opened, I was in there every day and painting and doing all the things. Because, we got to talk more to the other vendors that were around because we were all in there doing the same thing. So I got to know my neighbor pretty well during that time. But then also, even when we moved out, like talking to the vendors that were in there and like talking to the store manager and even the one girl that she had there with her, there we had, you know, really good conversations, and I mean, obviously it was a little bit different because everyone was sad, but it was still like bonding, you know?
I get it. I get it. So, what about the funniest or most chaotic moment you have had out at these events or even at Painted Tree?
We have been so lucky. I have, like, we were talking about Facebook groups. There is one that I can't even think what it's called, but it's for vendors, and I think maybe it might be one for like setup ideas or something. And they say all kinds of stories, but I have been so lucky to always have really nice neighbors, and no crazy, like some kid came over and knocked my whole display over. But at Painted Tree, so fun fact, I don't know if your aisle was leaking, but there had been a bad storm and our aisle, the roof was leaking.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't know how well you would be able to see it on the camera, but
yeah. Oh,
label,
wow. Water damage. Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty stinky. There, and I didn't have any cameras up. I bought one, but I was like, I mean, if someone does steal something, what am I going to do about it? So I never even put it up, but I'm sure that we had some theft because I know there was things that were missing. But
really?
Yeah.
Now that does stink. And you know what? And what's funny, I put those sensors on everything. But what I realized halfway through the process was every time I come in here and I've got my wagon going, oh, it's okay. So if somebody really walked through there selling stuff, were they just saying it's okay? Or I mean, because like you said, what are we going to do?
Right.
Especially if you're not there, what are you going to do? So yeah, wow.
If I know people were talking about, like, you know, they come in and whatever, and sometimes you're switching stuff out, but it already has little tags on it, and then you're leaving, and yeah, you have your little wagon, and they're like, oh no, you're good, it's fine. But so then, okay, then like literally anybody, they never asked to see anything. You could write down any number on that sheet.
Right. And I could never remember my number anyway. I would just put my booth. So yeah, you're right. Okay. So because this is called A Case of the Fuckets, I'm going to do, yes. So I'm going to give you a couple and I want you to finish it. So finish it. I finally had to say fuck it to what?
I finally did have to say fuck it to what other people's opinions of what I should be doing and how I should be doing it are.
Oh, I love it. Listen, that is the reason that this came about in the first place. Oh. Because, yes, this is how listen, it's a whole list. And actually what's funny is on the back of my shirt, other people's opinion, societal pressures, all that stuff, because everybody has an opinion on what you should be doing.
Yep.
So I love that. I love that. Handmade business owners deserve what?
Deserve to be treated like any other business owner. Just because we don't have 2,500 stores across the entire world does not make us any different than any other business. We are still trying to make a profit. We still have, like you said, there's mouths to feed at home. We're got to keep our lights on, you know, and we shouldn't be treated any different. And it's not nice when you go into someone's booth and make nasty remarks about stuff that you didn't make. Ma'am, leave. If you don't like it, then get out of here.
And I don't know about you, but and you've probably heard it, there's a song that goes with the reel. and it says it costs this much because it took me fucking hours.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you've done it, you don't understand how much time, the trial and error it takes to make stuff.
Yep.
And so, like you said, don't come in here saying anything because you didn't make it.
Exactly. I don't care if you could get that at Walmart for cheaper or that you could make it yourself cheaper, then you go on ahead and do it.
And they're not.
No.
They're not going to make it cheaper.
No.
And if you do find it cheaper, okay, listen. And I've had to learn this. And again, it was fuck what other people have to say, because that's fine. Everybody's not your customer. And the one thing, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but people told me it was coming and I didn't really understand it. Your family and friends are not your customers.
No.
They're not.
Mm-mm.
And I honestly didn't believe it until I was like, oh, this is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you have to be okay with that.
Yep.
I was in my feelings for a minute. And my friend she's like, mm-mm. She's like, you'll never get anywhere if you don't stop being offended by this. Now, I have people, and I don't know if you do, but there are certain people who, no matter what I sell, no matter what I do, they will support me.
Oh, yeah.
But I can count those people on one hand.
Mm-hmm.
I can count those people on one hand. Okay. So, let's see. Right now, I am saying fuck it to fear and yes to what?
All of the possibilities. Even if it seems like it's a little bit sus and it might not work, it's okay. We're going to feel the fear and we're going to do it anyways.
I like that. Okay. So I want you to show us what you got behind you. I want to see those products, and so do our viewers.
So, fun fact, these all still have the painted tree.
Absolutely. Everything of mine still has it. I'm not taking the labels off of anything because you'll tear up your products doing that.
Yes. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't really say anything specific, so it's fine. Mm-hmm. But this is the 60s breakfast, so that is the Captain Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 10 ounce.
Okay.
Good. And the candy counter. So this actually smells like juicy fruit. So that's why there's bubble gum.
Ooh, I was thinking that was going to taste like the bubble gum machine.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, I want to put something in there, but I don't know what. And I was like, I guess we'll do gumballs.
Okay. It's cute.
Thank you. And this actually, fun fact, I made these to take to the painted tree like the day before they sent the email. So and these are gender reveal.
I love that candle. I saw that and I thought that was so cool.
Thank you.
And I wish I would have known that before, because my little cousin just revealed I think she's having a girl. So I will make sure I'm going to get one of those and keep it just so I can give it to somebody, because I think that is so cute.
Thank you. Yes, and you can't tell. It's just white. You can't tell what color's inside of it.
That's very cute. So how do you? I won't give it away for the people. You just gotta light it, correct?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
And then if you can pick boy or girl. So if it's a girl, it'll be pink, and if it's a boy, then it'll be blue. They do smell different, but you wouldn't know that because you're probably only going to get one at a time anyway, right? So
right. You're right. Okay. So what about your room sprays?
I don't have very many on the website. I need to get more on there. So Cabana Tropique is a new summer one. Those also had just gone to the painted tree right before they closed. So this one is like tropical coconut, palm, and lime.
Okay.
And the room spray base has enzymes in it, so it actually helps to eliminate the smell and not just cover it up with a scent,
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. And also, same thing for the car fresheners. This one apparently must have got something on it too. I need to get more on the website, but
Okay.
it's like a piece of wood with our old logo on it. I have a new one. And then they last for at least a month.
Okay.
I was very surprised just by wood.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you again for being my first guest. I told my friend, I said, I want to call her and see if she wants to postpone. I said, but then I said, well, no, it's now or never. It's happening. Because I was going back and forth. You know, I don't know if you have children, but honey, your kids will tell you off. They'll tell you about yourself. I thought it was like, well, where's your podcast? I thought you were starting your podcast. I said, well, it's going to start in January. This was in December. My son's like, why don't you start it now? Teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Because they know everything.
I know, but I thank you so much. You pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and I am so glad that you did. And so give us your website so that people can find you.
My website is www.sparklychicken.com. And spelled just like it sounds. And
what about your social media?
We have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and all three are the Sparkly Chicken.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again, Rachel, for joining us. And we did it.
We did it. Yay. I'm so excited. I was nervous too because I was like, "Oh my goodness, don't say anything stupid." So I'm very glad because you also pushed me outside my comfort zone. So I'm glad that we did this.
Introverted extroverts.
Yes.
I realize that I realize that I'm partly too because I've always thought that I was an introvert, but it just depends. I don't like a lot of people around me. 10, 15 people, I'm good. I don't need crowds. So that's good for me. That's good for me. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. And anything else you want to say to our people?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Case of the Fuckets podcast.
Thank you for having me.